up in your asphalt, Johnson & Sons Paving will patch them up or replace the whole parking lot. Take a look at johnsonsonspaving.com. Sign a parking lot paving contract before May 31st, and you might just get me out on the job site working with the crew. Find full contest details at WTMJ.com/contests.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't have to mean living without joy or optimism. At the Fredert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place. By bringing together teams of leading specialists who are pioneering ways to treat every type of cancer, and by unleashing promising new clinical trials. Let's push ahead until every cancer diagnosis is a story of survivorship. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit fredert.com/cancer.
St. Vincent de Paul, Milwaukee has expanded into our new 76th and Bradley Road location, where thrifters will find hundreds of bargains on everything, from clothing to furniture, electronics, home goods, and more. Our inventory is always changing, and new deals pop up every day. We're accepting donations too at our convenient drive-through donation area. Help us help others. St. Vincent de Paul at 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee is now open.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
The game is over. Your Bucks postgame show starts now. Welcome to Bucks Talk, insight, analysis, and your chance to sound off on the game you just heard. Now to break it all down, here's your host, Justin Garcia.
All right, we said it before tip-off. This was not a must-win game. It's an important win. There was more urgency on getting that victory given the injury report for the Clippers, but a good win for the Bucks nonetheless, regardless of how close this was or how late this thing went and who was not on the floor for the Clippers. You just need to get in the win column. You cannot have another disastrous road trip, 1-3, but even 0-4. And the Bucks at least momentarily avoid that. Now a chance for a 500 trip when you wrap things up Tuesday night in Sacramento against the Kings. The other things to keep note of today or keep an eye on are a pair of games on your NBA Sunday evening, the 76ers and the Knicks. So you're going to gain ground on one of those two teams. I do believe you are likely to become a 76ers fan if you're a Bucks fan, and you want as much separation as possible between you and the New York Knicks because I've said it before. We talked about this quite a bit on Bucks Shoot-Around earlier today. I'm going to say it again. It doesn't matter if the Bucks are second or third, where they are in terms of those standings. What matters is that they are second or third and not sliding down to the fourth spot. You don't want the path to have the Boston Celtics in the second round. I know a lot can happen in the first-round matchups. I know a lot can happen at any round in the postseason. And look, you're going to have to beat good teams to win an NBA championship. If you want to get to the finals, it's a safe assumption to say you're going to have to get through Boston at some point. But you want to put that off as long as possible, and you want to start to keep building what we've seen here. Doc Rivers talked about that. Maybe we've seen the defense take a little bit of a step backward. I think when you saw the numbers, and we kept pointing them out on this show, Bucks have the second best defense or fourth best. They're in the top five. What you've seen from this group since Doc Rivers took over is enough to lead you to believe, look, they have the makings to, at the very least, be a better than average league defense. But they have consistently shown this is closer to a top 10 defense than they were a bottom 10 that we saw for basically large portions of 40 games throughout the season. Now, the defense has taken a bit of a slide. Overall, they're 10th since Doc Rivers took over, but that should be more than good enough as long as the offense is performing where you expect it to be. And again, you need Chris Middleton back to really get a full view of that offense. But the important parts are in the meantime, how does that two-man game between Giannis and Damian Lillard look? Does it continue to evolve? And I think the answer to that question, especially these last two games, even though one was a loss, is yes. 855-616-1620, the number to join us this afternoon on Bucks Talk as we recap a win in Los Angeles against the Clippers. So the Bucks sweep the season series against the Clippers. And now, again, a chance for a 500 road trip with those teams, all playoff teams, I know I had said before this road trip began, I know I said, look, these are good matchups for the Bucks. I do like the way they match up with the Lakers. I do like the way they match up with the Clippers. You felt the same way about the Golden State Warriors. They lost by 35 points. And I like the way they match up with the Sacramento Kings. You got a chance to go 2-2 against 4 playoff teams. In the Lakers, the Warriors, the Clippers, and the Sacramento Kings. 855-616-1620 is the number to join us today on Bucks Talk. We'll take a look at some of those updated numbers for the Bucks coming out of the All-Star break. And again, the latest on where we're at in the standings, why we're going to become Philadelphia 76ers fans for at least a small portion of the day today. And plenty of time to hear from you as well. We'll get to all of that after this on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
Okay, I'm ready to record my jewelry store's new radio spot. We got a great script that really goes after Diamonds Direct and how they're nothing special and how we can match their price. Great stuff. Yeah.
Great. And we have this new technology that bleeps out any false claims, so it saves us time with editing. So you can start anytime.
Okay, here it goes. When you visit our jewelry store, we'll absolutely guarantee direct. Our diamonds come straight from the mine. We have cutters and Hey, what the?
The hard truth is that other jewelry stores simply can't do what Diamonds Direct can. Diamonds Direct has special relationships with De Beers, international connections, and virtually unlimited buying power. The result is true direct importer pricing, exceptional quality, and up to 30 times the diamond selection you find at other stores.
I can't believe this thing won't let me say
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get more truth at diamondsdirect.com.
It's the weekend. Escape from your kitchen and enjoy a free dinner at the famous Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Fox and Hounds is my favorite restaurant. It's one of the most unique, beautiful, and affordable restaurants in the state, as your second dinner is free, even on a Saturday or a Sunday. No kidding. Order your favorite steak, seafood, Northwoods pan-fried walleye, a big fresh garden salad, even the steak and lobster or prime rib on Wednesday and Saturday, and your second dinner is always free. Desserts and ice cream drinks, my favorite part of the meal. Buy one, get one free. I highly recommend the magnificent Sunday brunch. It's all you can eat. It's just $26.99. Kids and grandkids under 3 always eat for free. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill. The drive alone is gorgeous. Google it. Fox and Hounds Restaurant. Reserve your table. Relax this weekend with your favorite cocktail and a free dinner. And a free dessert. I love the Fox and Hounds.
Since 1955, Geist Garage Doors has been the trusted authority in Wisconsin. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Give my friends at Geist a call. Doors and openers for every budget are available, and they'll even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. Check out GeistDoors.com or call 262-784-4250. Or do what I did. Check out their amazing showroom in Brookfield featuring hundreds of doors, openers, and their custom design room. Wherever you are in southeast Wisconsin, don't think twice. Call Geist.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
$113-106, the final in Los Angeles. Bucks beat the Clippers, getting the win column on this 4-game road trip. And now head to Sacramento Tuesday night to wrap things up with a chance at a 500 road trip against 4 teams that are going to be in the postseason from the Western Conference. That has been the story of the Doc Rivers era of Bucks basketball here is playoff teams. A large portion of those games played against playoff teams. One of the most difficult schedules in the league. That is what Doc Rivers inherited. Sure, he inherited Giannis and Damian Lillard, 2 Hall of Fame caliber players, and a team that had a good record at the time that he took over. But he took on a very, very difficult schedule. We mentioned this all throughout those first couple of months of the season. It's important to win games now while you're figuring things out because of the schedule that waits for the Bucks, really for most of the back half of the season, but especially in the month of March. 855-616-1620, the number to join us this afternoon on Bucks Talk. Let's head to the phone lines and begin things with Will I Am. What's going on today, Will?
Hey, Justin. Hey, man, can't not love the Bucks' little matinee beatdown here. Felt great to see Giannis and James pick and roll ability finally showing on the upward trend. Like you mentioned right before the break here, 34 for Giannis, 35 for Dame. Those are numbers what you expect from, like you said, Hall of Fame caliber players. And one of the big things I'm liking is the minutes. 38 each for Dame and Giannis. Big tip of the hat to Doc Rivers there. Bud again and other coaches prior really wouldn't give Giannis over 30 minutes. So to see him get those big numbers against playoff teams is really, really nice. And then my last 2 points, I do believe that if we get to 10th, maybe even 8th in defense, we're going to be a problem just because Doc's got the team going. And when you make it rain and also have a good, intense game like that, that's Bucks basketball. And before I go, Justin, I want to ask you a question. What do you want to see adjusted? Because, I feel like they've, answered the rebounding. They've picked up the intensity on defense. Guys are going to miss. But curious to know, what do you think is going to be the big adjustments here for the Bucks that you would like to see?
On either side of the floor, are you saying?
Yeah, let's go offense and defense.
Well, I mean, not to take the low-hanging fruit of the cop-out here, but it just – you got to see Chris Middleton on the floor. And this – look, I'm going to preface with this, too. I was talking about this with somebody else. I've heard a lot of you can't count on Chris Middleton and those types of remarks. And while, look, I recognize by the numbers, the games played the last couple of years, you could look at that and say, well, Chris Middleton doesn't play a lot. Can't count on him. Fine. We can't dispute that when you look at the games he's been on the floor the last 2+ years. But the narrative that Chris Middleton is injury prone, to me, is more than a bit unfair, because if we just take a step back and look at these last 3 years where it really started to pop up. I remember how long ago it was, 8 years? Something like that, 6, 7, 8 years, when Chris Middleton had the hamstring injury, and we wondered, man, how do you come back from that? It was torn off the bone, and it was a pretty severe injury. We got to monitor this guy moving forward. No issues after that. And it's kind of the same that we mentioned about Brook Lopez, not so much Bucks fans, but when he was with the Nets. And you think about, I think it was 2 of the first 3 or 4 years of his career were essentially lost to foot injuries. And that was in the back of your mind when he came to Milwaukee of, he's a 7-footer who's got that history. How much longer can he hold up? Outside of a back surgery, which again prompted those questions, there have been no issues with Brook Lopez. With Chris Middleton, very similar. Outside of that, nothing. And then you get to the last 3 years, where is it injury prone because you slip on a wet spot and then get a second procedure done to clean up a separate issue that he had been dealing with? Is it injury prone because Kevin Durant comes down in your landing space? So, look, I get if you're just looking at the numbers and the box score and you're looking at, all right, here's the Bucks, let's look at their individual players. I get if you see that and say, well, Chris Middleton doesn't play a lot, you can't count on him. I think it's the opposite. You know what you can count on when he's on the floor. It's been 2+ years of random issues that have led to Chris Middleton being off the floor here. And so for me, the big thing is you need him on the floor, because that's where you start with the offense and how things are going to start to change here. Doc Rivers liked what he saw in that 2-man game from Giannis and Damian Lillard today, and it's clearly been getting better and better. There's been more comfort there, and that was one of the initiatives from Doc Rivers when he took over is, look, the important part is we got 2 superstars, so let's make sure they're playing like superstars. I'm not worried about Damian Lillard trying to fit in. Let's see how we can fit in around Damian Lillard. That was the impetus for Doc Rivers. Fixing the defense and getting Damian Lillard going. But the caveat, the asterisk of let's do that not at the expense of Giannis. Make sure he doesn't suffer either. And I think that's what we've seen coming out of the All-Star break. So I just need to see Chris Middleton on the floor, because that's going to change a lot offensively. Jay Crowder had been dealing with some shooting struggles of late. Jay Crowder's role is going to change. What you ask from Jay Crowder when Chris Middleton is back on the floor. I mean, you need Jay Crowder to knock down open shots with the way that the lineups and players have been situated with the absence of Chris Middleton. When Chris is back, you need Jay Crowder. You're still going to need him to hit open shots, but you need Jay Crowder's defense more than anything. When you have Chris Middleton on the floor with Malik Beasley, with Brook Lopez, that's going to change things immensely for that two-man game, which, again, is getting better and better. You think about the way they close things out, a couple of wasted possessions, as Doc Rivers pointed to, but a couple of that really clicked in that game against the Lakers, and we saw more and more of it today. So when you got that duo on the short roll, running the pick and roll, and you've got Giannis, or you got Brook Lopez in one corner, you got Malik Beasley in the other, or if you got Chris Middleton out there, that changes what defenses can do. And a lot of those defensive issues, I suppose you could say, that we've seen, again, 10th best in defense now since Doc Rivers took over. For a while, it was in the top 5. A lot of what we've seen is kind of what we've heard for large portions of the season. We heard Adrian Griffin saying the same things, is our offense didn't help our defense. You know, some of the shot selection, turnovers, whatever it was, you got to be in sync. We can't put our defense in a bad spot. We can't turn the ball over and start fast breaks. That's what you saw a lot under Adrian Griffin. Can't have poor shot selection, one and dones or quick shots, contested shots, and the same thing where your defense is not in position. And I think we've seen a decent amount of that in these last 4 games. That, more than anything, is going to hurt your defense. So to distill it down to just one thing, for me, it's Chris Middleton. You got to see him back. And that's where you get a better feeling of where this team is headed and how much things are clicking on both ends of the floor. 855-616-1620, the number to join us today on Bucks Talk. Mention where the Bucks are at defensively since this coaching change, but where they are for the season as a whole, to me, is the most impressive part of the Doc Rivers era. We'll give you those updated numbers after this on Bucks Talk.
You're listening to Bucks Talk.
No one wanted to hire me. They just saw my disability, but not me. I worked hard to get the education and the skills needed to thrive. I was ready to work. Then someone believed in me and said yes.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support for people with disabilities and their employers to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
I'm excited to be joined by my friend Jill Kreider. She is the president of Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Tell me kind of about the mission of Azura.
Our mission is to transform the culture of care, have a secure place, live a quality of life that maybe they don't have currently.
When I'm at an Azura facility, it feels like home.
Having team members that really care about people is number one.
Thank you for what you do for our community. Thank you for what you do for the people that live in the community.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
It's Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Rewards Members Spring Early Bird Event. Now through March 20th, we're showing extra appreciation to our rewards members with exclusive members-only deals. Like buy 3 tires, get 1 free. Rewards members get an extra $25 instant savings and up to a $100 consumer rebate when you buy 4 Cooper tires. 20% off Milwaukee tape measures. And new Blaine's brand all-season wiper fluid, $2.49 a gallon. Shop unbeatable rewards member deals and more for just a limited time in-store or online at farmandfleet.com.
Hey, Gene Miller here. The heart of winter is the best time to call my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. Save heating and cooling dollars down the road with energy-efficient replacement windows and doors from brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. Hometown is your local source for wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, plus all of their products are installed by employee carpenters. Stop into their newly remodeled showroom in New Berlin and see the Hometown difference. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. HometownWindows.com.
Headlines, texts, emails, the TV, the computer, the phone, even your smartwatch, every day. Market volatility can lead to anxiety and planning paralysis. No surprise, Americans report being stressed about their investment and retirement plans. Turn down the media roar. Dial up the planning. Put Annex Wealth Management on your side for investment and retirement guidance that includes tax and estate planning. Head to AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management.
The Roundball Repartee returns. This is Bucks Talk.
Bucks win today in Los Angeles, beating the Clippers by big performances from Giannis and Dame. 69 combined points from that duo. 35 from Damian Lillard and 34 from Giannis. Each of those two players finished 3 rebounds short of a triple-double. So not only 69 combined points, but this is back-to-back games where both Giannis and Dame finished with double-doubles, and it was assists in both of these games. 11 assists today for Damian Lillard, 10 for Giannis. And they became the first players in the league this season, Friday night in Los Angeles, to each have 25 or more points in a double-double. Teammates to do that together in the same game. Giannis and Damian Lillard, that is it. And now they have done it in consecutive games. 855-616-1620 is the number to join us this afternoon on Bucks Talk. I mentioned there are some very encouraging numbers that we have started to see now under Doc Rivers, but especially coming out of the All-Star break. Not just the win-loss record where they are 7-2, and, it is worth pointing out you did have a pair of games against the Charlotte Hornets. You did have a game against the Chicago Bulls, but you played in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. I know there was no Joel Embiid. You still played in Philadelphia against the 76ers. You've gone out west now for 3 games with 1 game left. It has not been an easy schedule. And I think a lot of times, just as we mentioned, people will look at the games played for Chris Middleton and say, well, he's injury prone. I think a lot of times people will see, well, the Bucks, they beat the Hornets twice. They have not played a tough schedule. Overall, it's been incredibly difficult since Doc Rivers took over, and it's still been a difficult schedule since the All-Star break. In those games played, what we've started to see from this Bucks team is the defense has still been consistently good enough. They are 7-2 in the 9 games played since the All-Star break. You've heard me mention time and time again, I really would prefer to have at least 10 games of a sample size, ideally 20 games. 10 games that's kind of the baseline of what we need. You're just short of that. But in the 9 games the Bucks have played since the All-Star break, they're 7-2. They have a 109.6 defensive rating. That is 8th best in the league. But perhaps even more importantly, they have a 117.6 offensive rating. So it's about 2.5, 3 points per 100 possessions, better than the rating it was posting early under Doc Rivers. And again, it's fair to point out, no Chris Middleton. But a 117.6 offensive rating since the All-Star break. None of those games include Chris Middleton. To me, it really speaks to Giannis and Damian Lillard getting more and more comfortable and figuring out what works in that 2-man game. That 117.6 offensive rating is 7th best in the NBA since the All-Star break, behind the Celtics, the Denver Nuggets, the team the Bucks will play on Tuesday, the Sacramento Kings, the Mavericks, the Pacers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Bucks. So all postseason teams. Same story with the defense, save for the Atlanta Hawks, who I suppose are 10th in the East, so they are a postseason team. But yes, the Atlanta Hawks have been bringing it defensively since the All-Star break. The most impressive part about all of this, though, is when you think about where the Bucks were defensively prior to the coaching change, they had slid all the way down to 22nd in the league. 22nd rated defense in the NBA belonged to the Bucks. We knew that number is simply not going to be good enough. The offense was elite for large stretches, though I think in hindsight, some of the things that were working for the Bucks, it was largely winning with your talent. The offense was good enough. You needed a defense that was going to be good enough as well. And that was not the case. To be sitting at 22nd defensively at the time of the coaching change. So you knew, look, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on that defensive end of the floor. As we mentioned, what were the 2 big things for Doc Rivers? Well, I got to fix the defense, and we got to get Giannis and Dame going together. when you look at where the Bucks are for the season as a whole now, and factor in, again, where they sat on January 23rd, when this coaching change was made, it is remarkable to see how much they have climbed as a unit. So 22nd in defense with a 116.8 defensive rating. Looking at the entire season now, so it includes those first 43 games under Adrian Griffin, the 3 games under Joe Prunty as your interim head coach, and the Doc Rivers tenure. The Bucks currently sit at 15th defensively. A 115 defensive rating, so it's improved by about 2 points per 100 possessions. And not only that, you weren't in the conversation when we said, well, I mean, they're in the 20s, but they're close. They're close to moving up. You weren't. The neighborhood you were in was a sketchy part of town. When you think about the teams that were around you, teams like the Charlotte Hornets, like the Wizards, like the Pistons, like the Pacers, right? That's the neighborhood the Bucks were living in. You wanted to move out of that neighborhood as soon as you could, but what those numbers were showing you was we don't have the finances to get out of this neighborhood. They have. They're now 15th for the season as a whole. And that was one of the areas that we circled as a possible destination of, I'd be ecstatic if the Bucks could finish this season somewhere just above 15th. Like, if you can do that, it's going to be tough to go from 22nd. But if you can do that, man, that shows a lot of progress. That is exactly where the Bucks are currently sitting. And not only that, the Clippers, 114.5. They're 14th. The Sixers, 114.4. The Suns, 114.2. You are less than 1 point per 100 possessions. You're in the neighborhood of moving up into the top 13 and getting close to 12 and continuing to move closer and closer and closer to the top 10. If they can finish this season with a defense that finishes rated 13th, that is an incredible accomplishment for where they were and the schedule that they have left. So you're continuing to see that progress. And again, you're seeing it on the offensive side now, where they have the 7th best offense in the league since the All-Star break, and doing that without Chris Middleton on the floor. You're continuing to see those signs of improvement and those encouraging pieces for this team, what they're going to need moving into the postseason. And now, again, it's just a matter of getting Chris Middleton on the floor. I don't care if it's Tuesday. I don't care if it's Thursday. I don't care if it's Sunday. That's the other nice part about this schedule that the Bucks have coming up, is it's tough. And we'll take a look at the strength of schedule that remains for this team. It is a tough, tough schedule that the Bucks have left here. None of that has changed. It has been a difficult schedule for weeks now. But the nice part is you're starting to get some off days built in there. 3 separate instances of 2 days off between games coming up this month. So if they can continue moving that defense forward and just get Chris Middleton on the floor before the playoffs start, because that's the important part. There is no date to circle if we need Chris Middleton back by then. I mean, the date is April 14th, whenever it is that the regular season ends. You just need him on the floor before then. I don't care if it's 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, 15 games. If it's the final, 17, 18 games that the Bucks have left. But you just need him on the floor for a little bit of time before the playoffs start, because a lot has changed since this coaching change took place. I know Chris Middleton has played under Doc Rivers, but as we mentioned, the offense continues to evolve. The way that you're going to lean on Chris Middleton is a bit different now than it was under Adrian Griffin in those 3 games under Joe Prunty. So you just need more of those reps to help continue to build that continuity. Maybe not so much with Giannis or Pat Connaughton or Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez, but certainly with Dame Lillard. 855-616-1620, the number to join us today on Bucks Talk. We'll take a look at that remaining schedule for the Bucks and some of the numbers we've seen from Giannis since the All-Star break. Because one thing we have not mentioned quite a bit is the MVP race. So what Giannis is doing, how much of a role will that play in moving up the MVP charts? We'll take a look at that after this on Bucks Talk.
The The hardwood homilies continue after this. This is Bucks Talk.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is this weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Millions of inventory must be sold. Prices are slashed up to 60% off retail, so save thousands. Save big on new hot tubs, spas, and saunas. Plus, see the Michael Phelps Signature Swim Spas by Master Spas.
Hi, I'm Michael Phelps. Join the swimming revolution.
The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show this weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Park Green Puff Pavilion. Visit 800spasale.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you've got water in your house, you need Guthrie and Fry. We've got their water softener. We get their salt delivery. We've got reverse osmosis that protects the water in our house. They've got the best people. They've got the best products. It's Guthrie and Fry. They treat their clients like their family. I feel that every time they're in our house, you need Guthrie and Fry. Fixed rental rates, convenient salt delivery programs. It's gfwater.com.
Better water makes a big difference. Guthrie and Fry.
Getting up to 5% back is easy at Fleet Farm. Fleet Rewards members can earn up to 5% back on every purchase, in-store and online. The earnings stack up automatically. The more you buy, the more you earn. No rebates, no coupons, no hassles. And Fleet Rewards membership is easy, so sign up now and start earning up to 5% back on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm. Some exclusions apply.
This is Bucks Talk.
All right, so with this game against the Clippers out of the way, you're done with the Clippers for your season schedule now. Bucks have dropped from 3rd to 4th in terms of most difficult schedule remaining in the NBA. Still the toughest schedule that's left in the Eastern Conference, and the only other team in the East that is around the Bucks is the Charlotte Hornets. The only other team that's in the postseason mix around the Bucks in the East is the Atlanta Hawks and then the Indiana Pacers. Those are it. And they currently sit 8-10 overall. You got 2 games left against the Celtics. Again, the asterisk to apply to that statement is one of those 2 is probably going to be a meaningless game. And I'm going to be curious to see who actually plays for the Boston Celtics. It is very late in the season, and the Celtics are going to wrap up the number 1 seed in the East. Probably 2 weeks left in the season, if not sooner than that. Right now, Celtics still lead in the loss column. That's the important thing to keep an eye on at this point in the season, not the numbers in the standings, the games back. Look at the loss column. The Celtics are 8 games up in the loss column on the Cavaliers. And the Celtics have 19 games left. What you would need to do to give that up isn't going to happen. So a magic number of 12 right now for the Boston Celtics to clinch the 1 seed. We're already discussing magic number early March. But, again, one of those games left is late in the season against the Celtics. By the time that final game is played, the Celtics will have clinched the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So it's going to be interesting to see what version of the Celtics you see that game. Is it going to be similar to what we saw last year in that game where the Celtics essentially played no one on night 2 of a back-to-back? You got 2 against the Celtics. You have 2 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now you have late games against the Oklahoma City Thunder in terms of where they are on the schedule, but the West is much different from the East. Thunder, Timberwolves, and the Denver Nuggets seem to be jockeying, going back and forth between who is going to get the 1 seed. So you can't have that same expectation there. A game against the Pelicans, a game against the Knicks, which could be huge when we talk about trying to wall off the 4 seed. A game against the Kings, which comes your way on Tuesday, and then one game against the Phoenix Suns, which is Sunday, 1 week from today in Milwaukee. So that's the schedule that the Bucks have. Those are the toughest teams left. I think the important part to focus on may well be 4 or 5 other games when you look at the easiest quote-unquote opponents left on the Bucks schedule. The Washington Wizards, I hesitate to call today a must-win game. You got a game against the Wizards, a game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Those are pretty close to must-win as well. For the schedule that you have left, the winnable games are games that you need to win. Wizards, Grizzlies, Raptors, Nets, and Hawks. Those are the quote-unquote easy games left for the Bucks. So 2 teams completely out of the mix in the postseason and 3 teams that are close or would be in the play-in tournament. That is the difference between what the Bucks have and teams like the Celtics, who, by the way, have the easiest schedule left in the league. The Miami Heat, who at this moment sit 6th in the Eastern Conference. They would be your first-round matchup. If you are a Bucks fan, I think what you are rooting for at this point is you want the Heat to keep winning. You want the Heat to move up to 5th or 4th. You would like a 4-5 matchup between the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat, where the winner would then theoretically play the Boston Celtics, assuming they get out of the first round. You can avoid all of that, and your half of the bracket would not have the Celtics, would not have the Knicks, who, if they get healthy, are a dangerous team, and would not have the Miami Heat, who no Bucks fan needs to be reminded are an incredibly dangerous team. We'll preview the matchup with the Kings and also take a look at some of those Giannis post-All-Star break numbers. Doesn't matter. Is it maybe too late in that MVP discussion? One prominent NBA media figure thinks no. We'll take a look at that after this on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
If affordable home decor is what you've been looking for, look no further, because we're happy to show you just how easily glass can turn up the wow value of your home. Take those old kitchen cabinet doors. You pull the cabinet doors off their hinges, mill out the center, and we'll replace it with glass. It could have a design, or we could use plain glass for a simple metro look. We can design any look you're going for, from traditional to prairie, beveled glass, even custom designs. And it doesn't stop there. Entry glass, transoms, bath mirrors, rec room mirrors? How about a rec room mirror with your personalized sports design sandblasted right on? That could be a pretty cool look. All it takes is a little outside-of-the-box thinking, and we'll help you get there. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Hey, John Mercure here for Floor Coverings International. They just did the flooring in our house, and it is stunning. Carpet, luxury vinyl plank, in and out quickly. They rolled up with that mobile flooring showroom. Incredible. Came in, walked us through everything. The installation was quick and easy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. FCI, the stars of flooring. Each Floor Covering International business is independently owned and operated. They are the real deal. Go to FCIfloors.com for a free consultation. They'll transform your home. FCIfloors.com.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes, allergies, cancer. Nothing will keep the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network from pushing Wisconsin ahead. We're constantly raising the bar for medical excellence and providing more ways to receive it, so you have it for all your health needs, big and small. Let's push ahead, and we'll make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
Bucks snapped the losing streak. They beat the Clippers in Los Angeles. They got a chance at a 500 road trip. We'll keep an eye, or you, I should say, should keep an eye on a couple of games on your NBA Sunday evening. The Miami Heat are playing the Washington Wizards. The Orlando Magic are up on the Indiana Pacers. And again, the Magic are the 5 seed in the East right now. But the big ones tip off momentarily. Both 6 o'clock tips in New York, the Knicks and the 76ers. And also tipping off at 6 in Cleveland, the Cavaliers playing the Brooklyn Nets. But Cleveland is going to be playing that game once again without Evan Mobley. For the 4th straight game without Donovan Mitchell. Dean Wade is also out, the hero from the win over the Celtics earlier this week. And Max Strus out as well. So if the Cavs drop that game, Bucks and the Cavs are tied in the loss column, and the Bucks will leapfrog them by way of an extra win. You got to keep an eye on those 2 games against the Pacers. That is ultimately what is likely to determine who gets the 2 seed between the Cavaliers and the Bucks. You need the Cavaliers to drop both of those games in order to win the divisional tiebreaker, which would determine the 2 seed if these 2 teams finish with the same record. Here's the thing I was going to mention about Giannis. Since the All-Star break, Giannis is averaging better than 31 points per game. He trails only Luka Doncic, who's been on another level with 37-plus points per game. 6 straight games where he's recorded a triple-double and scored 30 points. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 32 points. He has 7 double-doubles in 9 games and 1 triple-double, does Giannis. And again, still very efficient is Giannis. Better than 50% on his three-point attempts and still better than 60% from the field. We had kind of kicked around. Look, if Giannis can lead the Bucks to a 20-8 record somewhere along those lines in the final 28 games of the season and puts up the numbers he had been doing throughout the season, he's going to be there in the MVP discussion. Bucks again since the All-Star break, 7-2. Giannis is doing his part. Now Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer says, why isn't Giannis in the top 2 between he and Jokic? So it is a conversation that's picking up some steam. Tuesday night in Sacramento, Bucks and the Kings. 9 o'clock tip, 8:30 is when our pregame coverage begins. And as always, be sure to stick around after the game for Bucks